All right, what's going on? Welcome to Asian Cosell. So I got one here by Jason Whitlock, and he talks about Lane Kiffin. Groupies are the white prime sexual. So let's see how this video is going to go. So here we go, Jason Whitlock.
Start with Lane Kiffin, who I'm calling Lane Kiffin. And Lane Kiffin version of Shedeur Sanders in the coaching profession. And let me be crystal clear here as I unpack this criticism. I like Lane Kiffin. I really do. And halfway rooting for him. But the way he just exited Ole Miss, embarrassing. Embarrassing. To throw a tantrum and demand that you through the playoffs is ridiculous. If Lane Kiffin wants to chase more money and wants to chase what he considers a better program, make the sacrifice of like, hey, you know what I'm surrendering? I'm surrendering a chance to lead Ole Miss to the national championship. I'm out. To stick around and try to demand and strong arm Ole Miss and their athletic director, I believe his name is Keith Carter, try to strong arm them into, hey, I get to stay here and coach, recruit my coaching staff, recruit these players while working for LSU. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the reason I compare him to Shedeur Sanders is because just like Shedeur, his dad not as famous as Deion Sanders or as Shadeur's dad, Deion Sanders, but his dad, Monty Kiffin, provided him a pretty comfortable life. Monty Kiffin, one of the great assistant coaches in the National Football League, made his name with the Tampa 2, a great defensive coordinator. And that made Lane Kiffin put him on easy street, put him on a silver spoon in his coaching career, no different than how ushered into college football, high school football, professional football by his dad. There is a privilege, that wealth privilege, that, hey, my dad was a major player in the National Football League. That privilege, very similar to Shedeur Sanders, very debilitating in terms of when people think, when they're used to getting everything that they want, they think they deserve everything that they want. And I see that in Shedeur Sanders, and we saw it in Lane Kiffin this weekend with the way he handled his exit from Ole Miss. And we saw the exact same thing as it relates to Shedeur Sanders. There's a group of groupies out here for Shedeur Sanders. Many people call them prime sexuals or Shedeur sexuals, and they will defend any and everything Shedeur does. They don't care that he was born on third base with gold chains around his neck. Shedeur Sanders represents something greater, that he's some sort of messiah, that if Shedeur Sanders makes it as an NFL quarterback, it's going to help and enhance Black people all across America. And so people defend any and everything about Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, going back to Lane Kiffin, I remember when he was a Raider coach. I think he was the youngest Raider coach at 30. But of course, pretty much he, I don't know, it led to a 4-12 season. So he didn't hack it in the NFL. And he's pretty much gone all over the SEC. I mean, he started off at Tennessee. Then he go to Alabama as an assistant. Then I think he went somewhere else, another 1AA school, whatever, a big championship school. And then Ole Miss. I mean, you guys can fact check me. And then he didn't even finish the Ole Miss contract. Less than a month to go, and now he's already like, hey, I'm off to LSU. Yeah. So I could see the comparison. Yeah, so Kifflin pretty much had a lot of opportunities because of his dad. So yeah.
Well, Lane Kiffin, doesn't represent the same thing, but access to Lane Kiffin by people in the media prevents them from saying the truth about how selfish and how narcissistic and how inappropriate Lane Kiffin's exit was from Ole Miss. Everybody that I'm about to talk about here, from Nick Saban to Kirk Herbstreit to Lane Kiffin, I like these guys, but quit acting like Shadur sexuals or prime sexuals, or that you have to defend Lane Kiffin to keep your access to him. And there are a lot of people that I saw on Clay Travis's Twitter feed. Lane Kiffin is very friendly with the media. And so everybody throws objectivity and common sense out the window and starts caping up for Lane Kiffin, no different than the way people cape up for Shadur Sanders. This whole little myth that people in the media are leftists or that they're concerned about the little guy. Why are they doing so much caping up for the non-little guy, for the big guy, for the people born on third base? This no different than how people caped up for Colin Kaepernick. Here's a guy that hit the absolute lottery. His parents abandoned him. His mom and dad abandoned him, give him a relatively well-off family in California. They pour everything into him. He's born, he's 6'4", 6'5", has all this athletic talent. He's born on third base. And everybody acted like, oh, we must cape up and defend Colin Kaepernick. He's our Messiah. No, he's not.
Speaking of Colin Kaepernick, watching that documentary was just so annoying. And the way, his parents or, his adopted parents gave him opportunities. And, I lived in California. Like, I'm trying to picture, like, okay, all those areas in Cali that I've been to, I don't recall being ostracized or racist undertones of these workers. And believe me, I'm Asian American, but somebody say, but you don't understand the thing about black people. And I'm like, yeah, there was black people there too, especially when we're going when I'm doing like softball tournaments or volleyball tournaments. Most of the hotels were just pretty much just catering to all of us in there. So I'm sitting here like, that really happened in that documentary. And then, of course, Colin Kaepernick sits there and goes, yeah, we're just like a slave plantation or whatever. I'm just like, really? But you guys are getting millions of dollars. How's it a slave plantation? So I'm trying to like sit there and go, this happened in Cali? I haven't dealt with a lot of that racist undertones in that movie. So yeah.
Someone that hit the genetics lottery and then hit the second chance lottery when his parents gave him up for adoption. We shouldn't have been feeling sorry for him. But again, he represented something in certain people's minds, leftists, media people, their ability to virtue signal. And so they defended Colin Kaepernick. I throw Lane Kiffin in a different way into that same boat. Let's listen to first Nick Saban, as instead of blaming Lane Kiffin, everybody goes to the default deal of, hey, let's blame the system. Play SOT 1.
Well, everybody should be thinking about the players. Everybody should be thinking about the student athletes. What's best for the student athletes? Players should be able to play for his coach for the entire season. Players shouldn't be penalized if a coach leaves, because the committee has the opportunity, if a player or coach doesn't participate, they can sink you in the rankings. So Ole Miss could go down in the rankings, maybe miss a home game. So their players are getting penalized. But we need to take a better approach to the business aspect of what we do in college athletics. In the NFL, you cannot leave your team until you're finished playing. You can't talk to another coach in the regular season. There's a defined time when you can talk to them if they're in the playoffs. That's the way it should be. And we should match the academic calendar with the football calendar, and we shouldn't have an early signing date that conflicts with people wanting to hire an early coach, a portal situation where you got to hire an early coach, fire your coach early. None of this is fair to the players. So if we did all that in May and then had some kind of OTA days or something in the summertime instead of spring practice, we wouldn't have all these issues and players could actually finish the year. So this is not a Lane Kiffin conundrum. This is a college football conundrum that we need some leadership to step up and change the rules on how this gets done in terms of coaching searches and opportunities for people to leave.
I like Nick Saban, but he's dead wrong here. This is a Lane Kiffin problem. The system is corrupt. It's flawed. They've made a hot mess of college athletics. The pursuit of money, and greed have ruined college athletics and created all this chaos. He's 1,000% right. But everybody, including Lane Kiffin, should start with the man in the mirror. Lane Kiffin, I would estimate, been the head coach for the Raiders at age 32, been the head coach at Florida Atlantic, a couple of major, obviously at Ole Miss. Was he the head coach at USC for a brief moment? Lane Kiffin has probably made between $50 and $75 million coaching.
And Tennessee.
And we're throwing a pity party for him. We're acting like Lane Kiffin he's not the first person that should do what's in the best interest of the kids. He has to set the example. I realize he's operating in a corrupt system, but that does not mean, well, he's got to be just as corrupt as the system. That seems to be the standard that's been set. And if he wants to leave for LSU, a direct competitor for Ole Miss, playing in the same conference, and we're arguing on television that this man should be allowed to coach at Ole Miss when he's working for LSU. If Lane Kiffin was interested in doing what's best for the kids, he would have stuck it out, missed the boat on the LSU deal, knowing, hey, man, I've made $50, $70 million. I'm Lane Kiffin. I can get my dream job once again next year. And maybe it's not LSU, but there are universities, and I'm sure Ole Miss was willing to pay him whatever LSU was willing to pay him or something close. But we just the more money and the easier it is for the head coach or the individual, that's what men should do. That is not what men should do. Men should operate from a point of view of integrity and sacrifice. I like Lane Kiffin, but I'm going to keep it real with Lane Kiffin. He claims a Christian faith. What he just did here, his exit, it's unbiblical.
Well, it's just ugly, especially, and of course, what is it? Ole Miss going to a bowl game. Sometimes these bowl games, they don't even care. So, yep, and it's just, I think, a lot of bad timing on Lane Kiffin. So but yeah, he's got to go next door to Louisiana. That's the funny part about this. So, yeah. Oh, dang. Yeah, he's gone all over the carousel. So, Florida Atlantic, that's a school. I forgot. But I know he was at Tennessee. So, yeah, the question is, like, if Lane Kiffin, by the time he retires from this thing, how many schools in the SEC is he going to coach for? Man, he's going to probably touch almost every part of America at this rate. So, yeah, I mean, talk about I call him the traveling coach. But it is what it is. But it was just, I think, bad timing. All right, so if any of you enjoyed any of this content, please give me the HKO special. Help the king out. Hit the like, subscribe, and comment. And wherever you are, stay safe, and I'll see you in my next video.